Royal Communication Incorporated. Good morning and welcome to King's Newsburn, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, August 21st, 2025, and I'm Newton Tukba presenting stories we following. This morning, two U.S. congressmen visiting Liberia call for reform in President Donald Trump's policy on immigration and visa restriction across Africa says there is no need for visa denial for people seeking entry to the U.S. World Health Organization country representative warns Liberian government against delay in tackling drug smuggling, and abuse Dr. Olusegun Olu emphasizes that Liberia's ongoing drug crisis could erode the future of the nation and its youths. Opposition party Citizen Movement for Change refused ruling party chairman claims of possible discussion for political alliance. TMC vows never to engage into any dialogue with the UP, describing the ruling party as notorious, corrupt, and deceptive. And away from Liberia, M23 rebel killed at least 140 people in East Democratic Republic of Congo last month in one of the worst atrocities by the armed group since its resurgence in late 2021, Human Rights Watch has said in a report. A leading conservationist in South Africa charged with smuggling rhino horns worth 14 million. These plus the news bulletin, our international developments, our package. We'll take a very short break. I'll be right back. Let's now have the news bulletin. A two-man delegation from the United States Congress, who are currently visiting Liberia, have frowned at the U.S. Embassy denial of Africans who intend to travel to the U.S. Speaking on OKF on Wednesday in Monrovia, Senator Jack Reed and Representative Gabby Amo of Rhode Island emphasized that many citizens in the U.S. are immigrants from other countries, adding that there is a need to reduce the aspect of denial of visas for people seeking entry to the U.S. The two congressmen also called for reforms in President Donald Trump's administration policy on immigration and visa restrictions across Africa. Representative Ahmad, who particularly has a Liberian heritage, said without being overly critical on the Trump administration, he will advocate for fairness in recognizing culture, family, and economic ties between the U.S. and Africa by not being treated differently from other continents. According to him, as it relates to the history, a thoughtful and responsible approach should be encouraged in building stronger ties, adding support is key for constituent services perspective. Internal of a broader system changes that are being undertaken. Senator Red, who backed Representative Ahmad comments, said, except for indigenous Africans, the U.S. is a land of immigrants, and frowned on President Donald Trump for what he described as refusal of visa immigration of people from many African nations. The U.S.-Africa relations are multifaceted, encompassing economic, security, and diplomatic aspects, with a history shaped by both cooperation and tension with the U.S., which has expressed commitment to strengthening ties with African nations based on mutual respect and shared interests, a relationship that is often perceived as asymmetrical, with the U.S. holding a dominant position. World Health Organization country representative Dr. Olusegun Olu has cautioned the Liberian government against what he called delay in the fight against illicit drug across the country. Speaking Wednesday during the Presidential Multi-Sectorial Committee engagement with service providers and international partners, Dr. Olu said inaction could result in devastating consequences for the country. He warned that if care is not taken immediately, the drug crisis could erode the future of the nation and its youth. The Presidential Multi-Sectorial Committee engagement in Monrovia Wednesday brought together service providers, policymakers, international partners to deepen collaboration, strengthen referral pathways, and explore innovative innovations to confront the substance of use in the country. Addressing a team of medical practitioners and partners at the engagement, earlier Health Minister Dr. Luis Poto underscored the role of the private sector in complementing the government's efforts against the fight of the trade of drug and substance abuse. According to her, the ministry is in full readiness to work with all sectors and development partners to provide quality services and improve referral pathways for substance users. The health minister also lauded the World Health Organization for its contribution to the country's health sector, noting that the WHO contribution is vital for shaping or scaling up efforts against crises she described as national emergency. The Citizen Movement for Change has strongly rejected ruling Unity Party Chairman Luther Tapp's a section of possible talks to be held between both parties for political alliance. In a statement issued Wednesday, the CMC said it cannot and will not engage in any dialogue with the UP, describing it as a party notorious for recklessly betraying Liberians. The CMC also indicated its reason of establishing the party, adding that it was funded with a single objective in mind: to challenge the misrule of the forces represented by the UP. According to the newly established and rapidly growing political party, the ruling party chairman's statement does not only reveal that the UP is speculative, but that it has not fully grasped the why behind the CMC's existence. The statement issued under the signature of the CMC Media Communications and Press Director Simif Tobe pointed out critical issues facing the nation, adding that the CMC existence stems from the desire of genuine change rather than political posturing. And following, CMC emphasized that as a movement, considering talks with the UP would serve as a direct contradiction to its vision, sacrifices, and aspiration, stating that its mission is to disrupt the status quo in which corruption, deception, and abuse are normalized by the UP. CMC at the same time signed a caveat to the ruling party chairman, challenging him to stop what he called daydreaming and level up. Bumi County Senator Ellen Sunu has criticized Justice Minister Oswald Tuwe for his absence from the official retirement ceremony of former Chief Justice Yana Yo, describing Justice Minister's no-show as surprising and disappointing. According to Senator Snow, the absence of Justice Minister Tuwe on the retirement ceremony of outgoing Chief Justice Siana Yo and subsequent appearance at the executive mansion just hours later for the political commissioner of justice Yemi Gbese and others, an event he described as fundamentally political. The Bumi County senator and head of the Liberian delegation to the ECOWAS expressed deep personal concern over what he viewed as troubling for the president, as he emphasized that the justice minister role extends far beyond ordinary cabinet duties. He noted that Justice Minister is the Attorney General, the Chief Prosecutor, the government's principal legal advisor, and most importantly, the Dean of the Supreme Court Bar, the position Senator Snow termed as immense legal and constitutional responsibility that should be held without political endurance. Senator Snow argued that such a role demands not only legal constituency, but also visible respect for the judiciary tradition. He stressed that while both events were important, the choice to forego the judiciary fairway in favor of a political event sends a disturbing signal to the Supreme Court bar. Chief Justice Yana Yu has vowed to crack down that's Yemi Gbese has vowed to crack down corruption and enforce reform. In his first official address as Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Justice Yemen Gbese vowed to confront what he described as long-standing issues of corruption that have eroded public trust within the judiciary. Speaking at the chamber of the Supreme Court during his official sitting ceremony, Gbese framed his elevation as a personal victory, but also as a national caveat to restore the rule of law. He pledged zero tolerance for corruption as he announced immediate directives to display anti-bribery notices in all courts, which include installation surveillance cameras to strategic locations throughout all judicial facilities. Chief Justice Bese added that he will reform the Judiciary Inquiry Commission, a body tasked with investigating ethical violations and misconduct by members of the judiciary. Chief Justice Bese acknowledged that corruption cannot be uprooted without addressing the judiciary internal weaknesses, namely poor working conditions, limited resources, and outdated infrastructure. He vowed equal access to justice regardless of wealth or political ties, as he noted that access to justice in the country remains uneven across the country. The Chief Justice also vowed to work with the executive and legislature to improve salaries, court facilities, and staff training. At the same time, Vice President Jeremiah Cohen has reaffirmed the government's full support to the country's judiciary system, making a brief remark at the formal sitting ceremony of Chief Justice Yemen Bese and Associate Justice Boakat Kane. President Jeremiah Cohen expressed government commitment to what he described as custodian of the rule of law. He described the occasion as a deep national significance, highlighting the importance of strong and independent judiciary in the country's democratic growth. He congratulated the newly seated justices and expressed confidence in their ability to uphold the principles of fairness, integrity, and constitutional order. Vice President Kuhn lauded former Chief Justice Yana Yod for her years of dedicated service to the country. For his part, the Liberian National Bar Association President, Councillor Bernard Varman, urged Chief Justice Bese to uphold constitutional integrity amid systematic justice challenges in the country. Councillor Varman highlighted a key shortcoming that continues to undermine confidence in Liberia's legal system on equal access to justice, especially for the country's most marginalized citizens. It expressed LNBA's willingness to work collaboratively with the Basic Bench to underscore the weight of the Liberian people's expectation now rests on the shoulders of Chief Justice. The Press Union of Liberia President Julius Calabar has emphasized the union's strong commitment to ensuring press freedom and protection of all Liberian journalists amid criminal charges brought against two Liberian journalists in Riverside County. Calabar, who elaborated on the union's press statement Wednesday, said unfettered freedom of journalists is of paramount concern to the union and vowed to protect their welfare. In an interview with King's FM, the PUR president disclosed that criminal charges brought against journalists Eric Opadu and Methuselah Gate in Riverside County are being handled by the union, adding that journalist and Antonia Law Bruce Bowen has been dedicated to represent the two Liberian journalists who are currently facing criminal charges. They were charged with criminal contempt of court and criminal coercion following a publication by the Yakpa Magisterial Court in Riverside County. Calabar also expressed confidence in journalist Bruce, noting that he utilizes his extensive knowledge of journalism and law to plead effectively for their colleagues seeking the dismissal of all criminal charges through legal arguments and constructive dialogue. The PUF further emphasized the importance of dropping criminal charges, noting that anti-free speech offenses have been decriminalized under the Kamara Abdullah Kamara Act of Press Freedom. It also added that no journalist should endure harassment, intimidation, or silencing due to published content, particularly when such content has been satisfied and rectified. Moscow County District 8, former Representative Akaros Great has raised concerns about the growing economic hardship in Liberia, pointing to rising prices of basic commodities in the country. Gate noted that locally produced commodities, including beta ball pepper, okra, among many others, prices have skyrocketed under the Unity Party-led government. According to him, many Liberians are unable to afford for themselves due to worsening economic situation that is causing citizens severe hunger. He further alleged government wrongful handling of job crisis and contributing to suffering of vulnerable citizens. The Maserati former District 10 lawmaker said that young children are dying as a result of widespread use of narcotics, noting that the government is proud to label drug users as Zocos without finding possible way to tackle drug smuggling and abuse. He argued that many of those stigmatized as Zocos were among the citizens who voted for the Unity Party government. He also claimed that Liberian drug problem became permanent during the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, not only former President George Weah, adding that the current government must take stronger action to address the dual challenges of economic hardship and drug abuse. Illegal drug smuggling and substance abuse remain high in Liberia despite ongoing national campaign against drug abuse across the country. Drug abuse have in recent days claimed the lives of several Liberians, predominantly youths, prompting citizens in parts of Montserrat County to carry out ghetto raids. That's raid. About 38 persons have died due to illegal drug overdose as of last week, something that posed creating total fear among citizens as Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has already warned citizens against raiding ghettos without the agency approval and coordination. On Wednesday, residents of Montserrat County woke up to another drug abuse-related death of that's on the Kesseley Boulevard. According to unconfirmed report, recent alarming deaths have been caused by dangerous street drug known locally as parking android. Eyewitnesses said the unidentified man lost his life after reportedly consuming the substance, which is increasingly circulating in local communities. David Swen, an inmate at the Monrovia Central Prison believed to be in his 30s, was also reported dead at the John F. Kennedy Medical Hospital after consuming kush while in prison. Health advocates and dozens of ordinary citizens have raised alarm over the surge of street drugs, warning that stronger measures are needed to curb the spread and protect vulnerable youth from addiction and death. And victims of a recent fire incident on Mackinnon Street in central Monrovia are calling on authorities, the government, humanitarian organizations, and philanthropists for assistance to enable them acquire shelter. On Tuesday, August 14, a devastating fire incident engulfed homes on Mackinnon Street, leaving over three families homeless and affected, including 1-month-old baby, with little knowing about the actual cause of the fire. Speaking with King's FM reporters Wednesday, one of the victims, Angeline David, described the fire outbreak as a major setback. According to her, everything, including sexual household items and monies, were destroyed in the fire incident, something she said have left them without hope, adding that they are desperately in need of national government assistance. The victims, however, expressed gratitude to their neighbors who they say have provided them with daily bread to sustain the young babies and their mothers. What if you just joining us? A reminder you're listening to King's News Run, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this morning. Two U.S. congressmen visiting Liberia to call for reform in President Donald Trump's policy on immigration and visa restriction across Africa say there is no need of visa denial for people seeking entry to the U.S. World Health Organization country representative warns Liberian government against delay in tackling drug smuggling and abuse. Dr. Olusayo Olu emphasizes that Liberia ongoing job crisis could erode the future of the nation and its youth. Opposition party Citizen Movement for Change refute ruling party chairman claims of possible discussion for political alliance. CMC vows never to engage into any dialogue with the UP, describing the ruling party as notorious, corrupt, and deceptive. And away from Liberia, M23 rebels killed at least 140 people in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo last month in one of the worst atrocities by the armed group since its resurgence in late 2021, Human Rights Watch has said in a report. A leading the conservationist in South Africa charged with smuggling rhino horns worth 14 million has insisted he has nothing to hide. We take another break. When we come back, we bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Others 1 or 2 man dedication for the United States Congress who are currently visiting Liberia have frowned at the U.S. Embassy denial of Africans who intend to travel to the U.S. Speaking on OKF on Wednesday, Maria, Senator Jack Reed and Representative Gobi Amo of Rhode Island emphasized that many citizens of the U.S. are immigrants from other countries, adding that there is a need to reduce the aspect of denial of visas for people seeking entry to the U.S.
I would speak to the context that we're in. You know that the Trump administration is working overtime to change many things about our structure. And without being overly critical from a partisan perspective, because I'm here as a representative of the U.S. government, what I would say is, as those rules change, we are going to need to advocate in the Congress, certainly from my position on the Foreign Affairs Committee, that we need to have fairness, that we need to recognize both cultural, family, and economic ties, and that we should certainly, when you zoom out, not have Africa treated in a way that is different than many parts around the world. And so I know that there are long historical things. I can speak to the 21 months that I've been in Congress. And I'll tell you this, there are things and changes that are afoot that I'm going to be speaking towards, because we need to have a thoughtful and responsible approach that recognizes, in fact, the strong ties. I know in Rhode Island, when I hear in our office, I know Senator Reed gets those calls in his office, that we try to support from a constituent services perspective as much as we can on that individual level, knowing that there are broader systems changes that we're undergoing with regard to the whole of our immigration process in our country, as you see in the headlines.
Well, we're in a very interesting moment in American history in which we have an administration that is trying to force out many people. Some of them are very much part of our economy, our life, working hard for the United States. And frankly, we've been a nation of immigrants. If you go far back, any American, his ancestors or her ancestors came, except for our indigenous people. Now, what they're doing is not only expelling people, but they're trying to curtail the entrance of people in. And it has to be done thoroughly and fairly based on the merits of the particular case. The other thing they're doing, which compounds and complicates this, is they're cutting back dramatically on the staff of the State Department that does the analysis and does the recommendations. So, and they're doing that deliberately. They really they don't want new people coming into the United States unless they're coming from scientifically oriented countries, is one way to describe it.
The voices of Senator Jack Reed and Representative Gobi Amo of the U.S. Congress. World Health Organization Country Representative Dr. Olusayo Olu has cautioned the Liberian government against what he called delayed in the fight against illicit drugs across the country. Speaking Wednesday during the presidential multi-sectorial committee engagement with service providers and international partners, Dr. Olu said inaction could result in devastating consequences for the country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I'd just like to join the Honorable Minister to appreciate the good work that you're doing. I'm not really fit to fall off in the country, but I mean, walking around, I notice on the street that sometimes human beings is a problem. And as you know, these are the couple of years to come. We don't take care of them, and it's going to be problems for us. So we really appreciate the good work you're doing. We continue to support the government of Nigeria in this drive to reduce this scourge, and we will also continue to work with you. We work directly with the Ministry of Health. But the Minister said we also have a lot of capacity, around training, around supplies, of course, around guidelines and documents that you will find useful. So my colleagues here, I'm sure will interact with you and let you know more about what you have. So thank you. I hope to listen to you and to take your problems. And I also hope to then use them to see how we can better support the government that we've got you. Thank you so much.
Addressing team of medical practitioners and partners at the engagement earlier, Health Minister Dr. Louis Poto underscored the role of the private sector in complementing the government's effort against the fight and trade of drug and substance abuse. According to her, the ministry is in full readiness to work with all sectors and development partners to provide quality services and improve referral pathways for substance users.
I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the President who sent his greetings also to you. I'd also like to take this time to appreciate you for all the work that you do. We are here today to discuss moving forward. How can the Ministry of Health be a part in assisting you to help the Liberian people with this organization? I also like to inform you that the government is also making efforts, and as the discussion progresses, we'll explain to you some of the efforts that have been made. We have brought in some medication, as well as we are constructing a neuropsychiatric hospital, 300 beds, neuropsychiatric hospital in Pennsylvania. And the president, as you also know, he declared drug and substance abuse as a public health emergency, which we are treating as such along with your participation. He desires to work with you all. If there are skills that you need, because we have the skills at the Ministry of Health, we have a lot of mental health technicians in the country currently. We have like 11 psychiatrists. So if there are skills you need to know, we are here to provide it. We are also here to let you know the referral pathway, because there are some cases that you may have that you may not be able to handle. So the referral pathway, the toll-free numbers that you'll be able to call us to come and help you with those cases. I also like to acknowledge the presence of the medication boss, and also the medication also gave us some medication like antidotes. I also like to inform you that we have in our essential medical supply, we have included some antidotes for drugs and substance abuse users.
Health Minister Dr. Louis Poto earlier, you heard the voice of World Health Organization Country Representative Dr. Olusayo Olu, who spoke earlier. Broom County Senator Edwin Snow has criticized Justice Minister Oswald Tue for his absence from the official retirement ceremony of former Chief Justice Siana Yo, describing the Justice Minister's no-show as surprising and disappointing. According to Senator Snow, the absence of Justice Minister Tue on the retirement ceremony of outgoing Chief Justice and subsequent appearance at the Executive Mansion just hours later for the political commissioning of Chief Justice Yemin Gbese and others, an event he described as fundamentally political. The Broom County Senator and head of Liberian dedication to ECOWAS expressed deep personal concern over what he viewed as troubling for the president, as he emphasized that the Justice Minister's role extends far beyond ordinary cabinet duties.
The retired Chief Justice is my ex-wife. Yes, it was surprising and disappointing that, except for the Solicitor General, no other member of the executive was there. But I don't speak for the executive. But what was most disappointing for me, and I speak now as a senator, as an individual, was the absence of the Minister of Justice. In our country, the Minister of Justice is not just an ordinary minister. So you are Minister of Justice, you are the Attorney General, the Republic, the Chief Prosecutor, Minister of Justice. Then you are the Dean of the Supreme Court Bar. Now, our laws, the Minister of Justice can disagree with the President, respectfully disagree with the President. So the President may want to do something, and he will seek the opinion of the Minister of Justice. And the Minister of Justice says, Mr. President, as per the law, this is right or this is wrong. So you have that leverage. The Minister of Justice wasn't there. Yes, he was mentioned on the program. He did not attend that program. I still don't know until I can know why he wasn't there as a senator. I think it didn't speak well of him. So Tua is someone I know very well. I have a lot of respect for. And I pray that he wouldn't allow the political nature of his work to take over his profession. But what was disappointing on that day was a few hours later, the Dean of the Supreme Court Bar, who could not attend the Supreme Court function, was at the Executive Mansion attending the political side of that program. What's the political side? Justice, the now Chief Justice, Bisi, had just got was appointed, was confirmed by the Senate, appointed by the President, and he was going for his commissioning program, which is a testimony of your confirmation by the Senate before you are seated. I think he's scheduled to be seated today. It's a political side of that, the commissioning side. But the Minister of Justice attended that program. Now just retirement. Now the two things that happened on that day, it was the close of the March term of court. All right. So the Minister of Justice, the fact that he did not attend that program, but 2 hours or few hours later, he was seen at the Executive Mansion attending the political side of the commissioning program. I think it didn't speak well.
What if you just joining us with the time half past the hour? A reminder, you're listening to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this morning. 2 U.S. Congress man visiting Liberia. Call for reform in President Donald Trump's policy on immigration and visa restriction across Africa. Say there is no need of visa denial for people seeking entry to the U.S. World Health Organization country representative warns Liberian government against delay in tackling drug smuggling and abuse. Dr. Olusayo Olu emphasizes that Liberia's ongoing drug crisis could erode the future of the nation and its youth. Opposition party Citizens Movement for Change refused ruling Unity Party chairman claims of possible discussion for political alliance. CMC vows never to engage into any dialogue with the UP, describing the ruling party as notorious, corrupt, and deceptive. Away from Liberia, M23 rebels killed at least 140 people in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo last month in one of the worst atrocities by the armed group since the resurgence in late 2021, Human Rights Watch has said in a report. A leading conservationist in South Africa charged with smuggling rhino horns worth 40 million has insisted he has nothing to hide. We'll take another break. When we come back, we continue with more voices. Welcome back. Chief Justice Yemin Bese has vowed to crack down corruption and enforce reform. He has first officially addressed as Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. Justice Chief Justice Bese vowed to confront what he described as long-standing issues of corruption that have eroded public trust within the judiciary. Speaking at the chamber of the Supreme Court during his official sitting ceremony, Bese thus framed his elevation not as a personal victory, but as a national confident to restore the rule of law.
I assure you that during my tenure, there will be zero tolerance for corruption and ethical malpractice by individuals, by judicial actors, whether a judge, a lawyer or a support staff. We want to ensure that the judiciary be a place where justice is served to all, the rich or the poor, irrespective of color, creed, or political connections. Where the constant talk of corruption in the judiciary is real or perceived, we will put systems in place and take necessary action as preventive measures. For example, signs and signals will be placed on judicial premises in a clear view of the public, warning everyone against engaging in going into offering bribe or taking bribe and other form of corruption. We will install CCTV camera or security camera will be installed in strategic locations. A special cell phone number will be provided in all the courts in the Republic so that employees of the judiciary engaged in corrupt acts will promptly report to the office of the Chief Justice. Serving judicial officers, let me share the territory or even the threat, etc., will be required to post indemnity bond so that if and when money entrusted to them is not accounted for, there will be avenue for refund. Yes. And we will reinforce the mandate and authority of the Judicial Inquiry Commission and the Brilliant Energy Commission and make sure that the recommendation emanating against judges and lawyers are decisively and timely acted upon. My colleagues, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, there are lots to be done to improve the judiciary condition. The foregoing are few of the key areas we will give immediate attention from the outset. Let me close this brief remark by reiterating our pledge and ensuring that honor our wife, that the judiciary will be a true beacon of hope for all Nigerians and our residents in Angola. Everyone who is injured or distressed can rest assured that he will find justice in our courts.
Chief Justice Yemen Besida speaking. At the same time, Vice President Jeremiah Kun has reaffirmed the government full support to the country's judiciary system. Making brief remark at the formal sitting ceremony of Chief Justice Yemen Besi and Associate Justice Bwakat Kanen, Vice President Kun expressed government commitment to what he described as custodian of the rule of law. He described the occasion as a deep national significance, highlighting the importance of strong and independent judiciary in the country's democratic growth.
On behalf of Excellency Joseph Newman Bwakat, Senior President of the Republic of Nigeria, it is an honor and distinct privilege to extend warm greetings and best wishes to this distinguished gathering of the former sitting of the Honorable Chief Justice and Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Let me begin by extending my profound gratitude to her honor, the former Chief Justice, Siaginek Jimmy Yo, for our dedicated service to our nation and aid justice system. Honor and valuable contribution, which are well in your retirement. Today is a moment of deep significance for our nation. The Supreme Court, the arbiter of justice, stands as the guardian of our Constitution, the custodian of the rule of law. Justice without fear or favor, to uphold the Constitution with courage and ensure that equality before the law is not merely an aspiration but a daily reality. And they assume their high offices every reminded that justice is the cornerstone of peace, stability, and progress.
For his part, the National Bar Association President Councillor Bonner Varman urged Chief Justice Besi to uphold constitutional integrity amid systematic justice challenges in the country. Councillor Varman highlighted key shortcomings that continues to undermine confidence in Liberia's legal system on equal access to justice, especially for the country's most marginalized citizens.
On this solemn and historic occasion, I rise on behalf of the National Bar Association LMBA to extend warm congratulations to His Honor Yemi Corporate Justice Senior, Chief Justice of the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia, and to His Honor Bwakat Naman Kane, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. as you take your seat on the highest bench of our beloved republic. Today is a moment of renewal for the judiciary. The sitting of the Chief Justice and an Associate Justice is more than the filling of vacancies. It is a reaffirmation of our nation's constitutional journey, and it symbolizes the enduring strength of our prolonged system, and it reminds us that while personalities may change, the sacred duty of upholding justice remains constant. Chief Justice Bassett, Senior, and Associate Justice Cannon, you have shown these revered offices at a critical juncture in Liberia's history. The people of Liberia look to the Supreme Court not only as the final arbiter of disputes, but as the guardian of rights, the protector of our liberties, and the custodian of our democracy. The burden is heavy, but the trust reposed in you by the nation speaks volumes as your character, your competence, and commitment to the law. The bar is conscious of the immense expectation of the Liberian people. Our justice system must confront challenges such as limited access to justice for the poor, delays in adjudication, perception of corruption, and the need for continuous reform to meet international standards for fairness, efficiency. These challenges demand of you wisdom, humility, steadfast devotion to the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia.
He's the president of the Liberia National Bar Association, born of Vermont earlier. You heard the voice of Vice President Jeremiah. Cool. The Press Union of Liberia President Julius Kanova has emphasized the union's strong commitment to ensuring press freedom and protection of all Liberian journalists amidst criminal charges brought against 2 Liberian journalists in Riverside County. Kanova, who elaborated on the union's press statement Wednesday, said unfettered freedom of journalists is of paramount concern to the union and vowed to protect their welfare. In an interview with King 7, the PUR president disclosed that criminal charges brought against journalists Eric Opadu and Methuselah Gate in Riverside County have been handled by the union, adding that journalist and attorney at law Bruce Bowen has been dedicated to represent the 2 Liberian journalists who are currently facing criminal charges. They were charged with criminal contempt of court and criminal coercion following up publications by the Nyakwatawa Magisterial Court in Riverside County.
Our dear colleagues and members of the Press Union of Liberia is pleased to report that we have deployed a distinguished journalist and attorney at law, Bruce Boyer, to represent 2 Liberian journalists, Eric Opado and Methuselah Gay, who currently facing criminal charges in Riverside County. They are facing the charges of criminal contempt of court, criminal coercion. Those charges stem from publications by these journalists that allege corruption within the Yapata Magisterial Court, specifically claims of bribery and the controversial release of a police officer allegedly apprehended with narcotics. We sent Bruce to ensure freedom of these journalists so that they can be free from the criminal charges against them. We are very cognizant of the fact that these journalists need unfettered freedom, which is of paramount concern to the Press Union of Liberia. Bruce, the attorney at law who we've dispatched to Riverside County, is a former editor at the Liberia Broadcasting System. He's also an award-winning judicial correspondent of the XY Independent Star Radio Liberia. Bruce comes with more than 2 decades of experience in journalism, and it is characterized by ethical journalism, integrity, and media leadership. Press Union of Liberia is confident that Bruce will utilize his extensive knowledge of journalism and law to plead effectively for our colleagues seeking the dismissal of all criminal charges through legal arguments and constructive dialogues.
Press Union of Liberia President Julius Kanobade speaking. Montserrat County District 8 former Representative Akaros Great has raised concerns about the growing economic hardship in Liberia, pointing to rising prices of basic commodities in the country. Great noted that locally produced commodities, including better pepper, okra, among many others, prices have skyrocketed under the Unity Party-led government. According to him, many Liberians are unable to afford for themselves due to worsening economic situation that is causing citizens severe hardship and hunger, and further alleged government wrongful handling of job crisis and contributing to the suffering of vulnerable citizens.
Inflation can kill you because guess what? The people are hungry in the country. The hardship has increased. The prices of locally produced commodities or basic commodities, consumable commodities, okay, the prices have increased from bitter ball to pepper to okra to salt to chicken soup to rice. And you can go on and on, potato green, palawa sauce, eggplants. You can go on and name them, coal, everything. The prices have gone up and skyrocketed under this administration. Okay. So people are sorry, people are hungry. If you think online, take the microphone right out into the communities around here and speak to the people. The condition in Liberia is terrible. Our young children are dying. The government is on responsibility. And you call them Zogos. They voted for Unity Party. I remember Nyongli Kanga, the protest, had people, had the guys that went to Sinko, they had the children they called Zogo, castigating the real-led administration, and the supported this government, voted for this government. But guess what? She has not been able to go in the single bell, those children that were interviewed. She's not been able to go and speak to them. She's not been able to go and look at their condition. Okay? The situation of these people are deplorable. And under the Salib-led administration of Bwana Vice President, I think that was 2013, around the same 2013, the presidential convoy of the President of the Republic of Liberia, the head of the convoy, was bringing drugs to Liberia. Got arrested. It was reported on the VOA, the CNN, the BBC, worldwide. Got arrested for drugs. And it was reported by the United Nations, the War Drugs Report on Liberia. Through the United Nations reported that 9% of school-going children, high school children, were taking drugs under the Salib-led administration as far as 2012, 2013. Imagine, how can you argue that it was the real-led administration? The issue, people are dying. People are dying in Liberia as if to say we are fighting war. Straight Buddhas are hating people and dying. We will not stand up yet. When the president will not walk around. That is the solution.
Mosul Rada County former District 8 Representative Moses Akaros they're speaking. And away from home, M23 rebels killed at least 140 people in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo last month in one of the worst atrocities by the armed group since its resurgence in late 2021, Human Rights Watch has said in a report. This is despite the peace process brokered by the US and Qatar to end the conflict in the region. Witnesses told the advocacy group that the Rwanda-backed rebels summarily executed local residents, including women and children, largely from the Hutu ethnic group in the Rusharu area near the Virunga National Park. The rebels have previously strongly denied any role in these killings, calling the charges a blatant misrepresentation of the fights. A leading conservationist in South Africa, charged with smuggling rhino horns worth 40 million, has insisted he has nothing to hide. In a statement, John Humin, the former owner of what is thought to be the world's largest rhino farm, denied allegations that he trafficked the horns from South Africa to Southeast Asia. Well, folks, on that note, this is how I would like to go home on this edition of King's News Broom, a 45-minute news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we've been following. 2 U.S. congressmen visiting Liberia call for reform in President Donald Trump's policy on immigration and visa restriction across Africa, said there is no need of visa denial for people seeking entry to the U.S. World Health Organization country representative warns Liberian government against delay in tackling drug smuggling and abuse. Dr. Olusayo Olu emphasizes that Liberia's ongoing drug crisis will erode the future of the nation and its youth. Opposition party Citizen Movement for Change refused ruling party chairman claims of possible discussion for political alliance. CMC vows never to engage into any dialogue with the UP, describing the ruling party as notorious, corrupt, and deceptive. Away from Liberia, M23 rebel killed at least 140 people in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo last month in one of the worst atrocities by the armed group since its resurgence in late 2021 Human Rights Watch has said in a report. A leading conservationist in South Africa, charged with smuggling rhino horns worth 14 million, has insisted he has nothing to hide. These are stories we follow here on King's Newsroom this morning. Better still join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we'll be here with another fresh edition of the program. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Our sources, my name is Newton Tugba. Have a pleasant good morning. Bye bye.